Well, let's just dive into it. So we started playing Grounded. Grounded is a new game from Obsidian Entertainment, and those of you that don't know what Obsidian does, they are most recognized for a lot of things. They were the original creators of Fallout before Bethesda took it over. They also made The Outer Worlds last year, which is basically a better version of Fallout. And they also produced Pillars of Eternity, which is a really popular franchise that's out there. And now they have this small team that decided to come together and make this game called Grounded, which is a very, very cool survival game. So it's kind of like akin to The Forest and I guess even Rust and things of that nature, where you're surviving, collecting, building a base, all that stuff. Except the catch is you're a kid, a teen that somehow got shrunk down into the backyard of your house, and you're amongst the grass and the leaves. And there's all kinds of little tiny threats like ants and stink bugs and gnats. And worst of all, the wolf fucking spider. That piece of shit will kill you.
Well,
so we played a little bit of Grounded last week. So Austin, tell me your initial thoughts and feelings about Grounded from Obsidian.
Well, I guess originally when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this looks better than The Forest. And obviously I had no idea what to expect. You guys love The Forest, and I just absolutely hate it at this point. I don't hate it.
Whoa. Don't say you guys, because I was not in that camp. I hate The Forest.
Oh, you do? Oh, thank God.
Oh, no, I hated it. I played that one time, and I was like, fuck this game. I'm never playing it again.
Originally, The Forest was cool, and there's story and intrigue, and then I spoiled the story for me, and then after that, I was like, well, there's really no point in doing this, because you had some driving force.
I didn't know there was a story.
Yeah, there's actually an interesting story. Worth checking out if you don't want to play it, because it's quite a while. It takes quite a while to get to that point, to get to those story bits, because you're trying to survive. Anyway, Jumping into this, it was nice because, if you ever watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I mean, that's basically what it is. So you're living that movie and seeing the world. It's so textured and so well thought out. It's a little weird at first because, instead of trees that are, bunched here and bunched there, there's some like open areas. It's all like kind of close together mostly. And it's a lot to take in. And they have this weird effect where like farther away, there's like this weird depth of field thing where farther away is all blurred out, but closer is, obviously you can see everything. And I felt that was kind of weird. But traversing the world, like the movement is fluid, the gameplay is fluid, the weapons and stuff, using that and getting water, gaining resources. And obviously Obsidian does good work, and it shows here. They're continuing that, and it's cool to see them kind of go out on a limb in a way and make this game that kind of out of left field. No one would have thought this would come out of them, and it turns out to be a really good game, even in beta. Obviously there's issues, and we can get in that later, but yeah, so far I'm loving it. I'm enjoying it. I want to play more of it. I'm sure we'll stream it more too.
Yeah, that's one of the really cool things about this game is that this is our early look into what an experience will be like with Xbox Game Pass, and why Game Pass is one of those things that is consistently being talked about as the thing that's basically keeping Xbox fresh and alive.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have a lot of exclusives that are coming out, and this one technically you can consider exclusive, but it's also available on multiple platforms. But the fact that it exists on Game Pass is such a great entry point for a game like this, because quite frankly, if this game was, it's early access on Steam, $30, people are obviously buying it because it is getting, it's one of the top sellers on Steam, or it is the top seller on Steam right now, which is fantastic. That to me is amazing, that this is a game that you can pay $10 a month to have Game Pass with so many games on it, but instead people are opting to buy it on Steam.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that everybody's been realizing is, for whatever reason, I don't know if I feel like it's almost the marketing dollars that Microsoft is putting behind Game Pass that is causing retailers to essentially make more money. Because there was that other game I talked about the other day that came out on Game Pass, and after it came out on Game Pass, they saw an increase in sales, like retail sales.
Yeah.
So just by existing there in that world, Microsoft's pushing it for you. So you're still able to sell retail elsewhere, but they're also having this great collection of games that exists in this super cheap pass, which later on we'll talk more about some much other interesting things that are happening with it. But coming back to Grounded, as a game itself, this game I've really really found a lot of enjoyment in. Like I love that. I mean, obviously, just the fact that it's a co-op game like is a huge deal for me. I don't think this is kind of akin to some of these other games that I play. Like this isn't a game I want to play by myself. I just don't want to be isolated in that world. But having like you guys with me to participate in this world is awesome. And this whole idea of being shrunken down and being able to see everything from this small, like kind of like when A Bug's Life came out back in the day. Like it reminds me of like those memories of those movies. That and what was it, Ant? I think it was, or that other movie that was kind of like Bug's Life, but it was different. That also existed in the same world. Like they did such a good job with the visualization of coming into this small space and making it feel so alive and immersive and exciting and stuff, where it's, you're looking at these little tiny ants that in your backyard are literally little tiny ants. And now it's like, holy shit, they're a huge ass threat that if you come at with like have a freaking ant army coming for you,
you're
like, fuck, I got to prepare myself.
Yeah.
And then,
they do what like ants do. Like they walk in a row, they go and find stuff, they kill bugs and bring them back for food to their ant hill. And if you attack one, well, at least from my experience, when I first started the game, I attacked one because I was like, oh, this would be cool. And then, another one showed up. And then another one showed up. Before I know it, there's like 20 ants coming at me. I'm like, I literally died. So it's like interesting to see like those, you see it on the small scale in real life, but then to actually have it happen to you on a bigger scale in the game was just like, that's awesome. The attention to detail is there,
It's so good. And I like how like when they first introduced the game, like you start out, you in this hole, and they just kind of thrust you into it. And there's definitely gonna be a lot more story and campaign that comes into this game later on that they've revealed in a story trailer. Like this is gonna be coming down the line, full story, all that stuff. There's some like weird stuff that's there. It's like there's people watching you. We don't really know why they're watching you. There's this mysterious device that lives in the world, and you're like, what is this device that's here? But they wrap all that up with like there's a gameplay mechanic to it where you have this like research station with an analyzer, and as you find resources around the world, you analyze them, which lets you unlock new things to craft. And I think that's such a great system because you're not overwhelmed and inundated with a shit ton of stuff right at the beginning of like, oh, I have 5 billion things I need to figure out how to craft. It's like, no, right now all I have access to is pebbles and water droplets and then sap.
Yeah,
and
you can make a spear and a hatchet right off the bat, I think.
Yeah, you can make like some basic weapons and then some basic like base building materials. Yeah. And then slowly as you find new enemies and explore further out in the world, you unlock new stuff, you analyze that, and it's like, oh, well, now I can, build an ant club and I can bash people more. I can build a bow and arrow, or I can build a gas mask when you found out you can encounter gas. Like, but that stuff's not all there at the beginning, so you don't realize the breadth of what's in the game. And I think that's a really cool way to ease you into it, so it's not super daunting with the start.
And I think that's what makes this game so great is the core concepts of the game are great. The world, the gameplay, movement, crafting, like all that is spot on, but it wouldn't be anything without progression, which we see. Like you start off slowly, you start researching, you start figuring out things you can build. Then you come into the world and you come to harder and harder creatures or insects to fight. And you got to figure out, what weapons you need. Then you got to go harvest those weapons, and then, you slowly start building a base up. And then you realize instead of grass fences, you can make concrete things, and then you can make wood. And then you need to go and do this. Then you need a level 2 tier, harvesting tool to get bigger things, to make better things. And then you go in contact with this little gassed area, which I guess is I guess we're trying to kill bugs in that, or what? Yeah, weed killer. And it's like, oh, I need a gas mask, so I have to go kill all these bugs to get the parts I need to create that to go in there. And then there's like, there's mystery and intrigue. There's actual quests that kind of lead you down a path, which makes it, if this is just a sandbox, it would be fun for sure, but I don't think longevity would be there. And it's nice to see that they've actually figured this out. And I mean, I think this is what a lot of games as a service try to do, is create this progression system like Destiny. It's flawed for sure, but this is nice that it's just like this incremental. And as you get more and more stuff, like I get more and more excited about, oh, what can I do now? What can I build? I have to go back over here, and like you start getting these paths that you take in order to find certain things like, you got to feed yourself, you got to get water, you got to go, you got to get a little canteen from a grub, so you got to kill grubs to get that. And it's just, it's nice. Like, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. Yeah,
I know it's a fantastically designed, especially because they started, supposedly this game was kicked off like 2 years ago. So this is a result of 2 years worth of development with this small team within Obsidian, which I think is just a testament to their skill and their prowess, like as a company. They really have. I mean, just looking at the Outer Worlds and how well of a game that was, with that being a very low budget game before they got acquired. And then Pillars of Eternity and how much that like completely changed that type of game, the isometric, CRPG kind of style, and how that completely changed people's ideas of what makes a good one. Yeah. I mean, it's up there in the echelon of like Divinity and stuff like that. Like, people respect it for that, Path of Exile and all those games. Like, it's in that top tier space, which I think is really cool. And then here they are with this random survival game that you've never heard of, and it's like, it's awesome. And I mean, obviously there is bugs and stuff like that we've encountered. So not just the physical bugs in the world, but actual game-breaking bugs. Yeah. Oh, y'all crashed like a couple. How many times did you crash?
I think I crashed like 5 times.
Okay.
Travis crashed like 2, maybe 3. And he was the first one to experience that. When he crashed this one time, he lost everything in his backpack. So, like, he had his canteen for gathering water. He had all these weapons that he made, like stuff, you go out, you harvest, you get a bunch of resources, you bring them back, you drop them on your base. Well, he didn't get to do that. He lost it all. Then it happened to me too, and I was like, this is just awful. And
so were you able to find your backpack, or
it's gone,
or it was just not there in the map?
It's gone. If you die in the game, you can respawn at this one spawn point, and then you go and get all of your backpack, or everything in your backpack. Yeah. So, like, it's a nice mechanic. You don't just lose everything. But man, like, there's bugs. There's definitely bugs. I think there's some, jitters and stutter in the game too, that need to be dealt with. It's probably something with what do you call it? The graphics or something. The skins and textures and things like that aren't super optimized just yet, but.
And I'm sure that shallow depth of field effect that they have going on in there is definitely, like, it's probably a pretty heavy powerhouse of to make that effect, that visual effect, occur in the world so well. I bet you that probably takes a lot of system resources and stuff to manage. Because I remember when what was it, Zelda Link's Awakening, the remaster came out, and it had that cool art style that had a little bit of the depth of field thing going on. Like, apparently it was a performance hog on Switch because of just that feature. So I could see that's what's causing a lot of it in this game. But I mean, that's the good thing is, like, I mean, the crashes is a big deal, but beyond that, I mean, the game is damn polished for first week launch. Like, I had a blast just like sitting there building that damn wall, like just like putting up another wall around our base, which was like not really gonna help us a whole lot, but it's just kind of cool to sit there and gather resources. You can build, little places to like lay your wood planks on, or not wood planks, your grass planks. So like when you chop down grass, or you chop down dead grass blades, or any of these things, you get planks out of it that you can use to construct buildings. And you can set up like basically pallets that let you store these in mass. So you can have somebody that's like their job is to gather the resources, somebody else who's building the resources. Yeah. And I also like the feature where you can literally map out what you want to build and just have it there for everybody to see. So like I could build a whole entire wall as like a blueprint. And then everybody then goes gather the resources to build out what was blueprinted out. Yeah. And all you got to do is just go up there and build with the resources as you pick it up. But you can get a feel for what you want to design before you actually like commit to spending the resources on it. And I think those little things, those little quality of life things, are a great addition to making the base building that much more enjoyable.